Hello everyone, this is Al Red Sox fan coming to you from Al Red Sox fan YouTube station. We're going to play a little Action PC Baseball 1977 Red Sox Retro Replay. I haven't played a game in a while. The Red Sox have started off the Retro Replay with an excellent record, 20 wins and 4 losses, currently in first place. We'll be playing against the visiting California Angels, 14 wins and 12 losses. Welcome to Fenway Park. It's California against Boston. Boston has won 9 out of their last 10. Gary Gross takes the mound for the Angels. He's made 3 starts on the year. He's no wins, 2 losses, earned run average, a whopping 7.11. He'll be opposed by Bill Spaceman Lee for the Red Sox. He's made 2 starts on the year and his 2 wins and 1 loss with an earned run average 4.80. California's second baseman, Jerry Remy, future Red Sox, in 1978, is riding a 12-game hitting streak. It's 71 degrees, wind speed 4 miles per hour, blowing left to right, and let's play ball. Hello, Max Cornelius in the chat. Hope all is well with you, my friend. So we play ball. Let's quickly go through the lineups. Batting first for the Angels, playing shortstop Bobby Grich. Batting second, the second baseman Jerry Remy, Massachusetts native. Batting third, playing left field, Don Baylor, who just passed away in real life, God rest his soul. Joe Rudy is a designated hitter, batting fourth. Bonds batting fifth, playing right field. Dave Chalk playing third base, batting sixth. Ron Jackson batting seventh, playing first. Gil Flores batting eighth in center field. And doing the catching, batting ninth, Terry Humphrey. For the Boston Red Sox, batting first, playing center field for the injured Fred Lynn, excuse me, Dwight Evans. As you can see, below average center fielder with an average arm from center. In right field, Bernie Carbo, very good right fielder in 77. He's batting second. Batting third, the designated hitter Jim Rice. Batting fourth, the catcher Pudge Carlton Fisk, outstanding defensively. Batting fifth, in left field, Captain Carl Yastrzemski, 10 out of 10 in left. At shortstop, Rick Burleson, 8 out of 10 defensive range, 970 field percentage. Batting seventh, the boomer George Scott at first, another great glove at the corner. Batting eighth, Butch Hobson, not so great with his glove. He was worse in 78, I believe. But he hit a ton of home runs in 77. Batting ninth, playing second base, an average defender, Denny Doyle. So let's get this game started, and we have Greg Durecki in the chat. Hello to you, my friend. Much love to my friend Greg Durecki and Max Cornelius. Greg from Canada, good friend from the north. Alright, Bobby Grich steps to the plate. In this retro replay, Bobby Grich is batting .242, 7 home runs and 17 RBIs. Bill Lee, in the retro replay, 2 wins, 1 loss, 4.80 earned run average, batting average against .339. So he's given up a lot of hits and runs. In actuality, Lee was 9-5 with 1 save, 4.43 earned run average, 307 batting average against. Grich in 77, in actuality, pretty close to his numbers right now. 243 for average, obviously the home runs. He's already got his 7 home runs, and he had only 23 RBIs. He has 17 now. Alrighty, Grich digs in. Lee gets a sign from Fisk. Here's the pitch to Bobby Grich. Pops it up. Calling for it is Hobson at third. Out number 1. Fooled him on that breaking pitch, Bill Lee did. He likes to come slow and slower. Hello, Eric from Higher Ground Gaming. How are you, my friend? Hope all is well with you, Mr. Brody. And we also have Chris from Stratomatic, Delaware in the house. And Beatles eternally. Hail, hail, the gang is all here. Hope all is well with everyone. Remember to check out Chris from Stratomatic, Delaware, and Eric and Mr. Brody from Higher Ground Gaming. Awesome channels. So 1 out, and here comes Massachusetts native Jerry Remy. 10 out of 10 bunter. We're going to play our corners in. So Scott in at third, Scott in at first, Hobson in at third. Remy batting .260 in the retro replay, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs. Currently has a 12-game hitting streak. In actuality, .252, 4 home runs and 44 runs batted in. Bill Lee gets the sign from Fisk. Here comes the spaceman to the plate. Remy swings and lines out to Scott. Great reaction by the boomer playing in at the corner. So 2 up, 2 down, and the dangerous Don Baylor comes to the plate. Angel left fielder batting .294 in the retro replay. 9 home runs and 25 runs driven in. In actuality, .251 in 77. 25 home runs and 75 runs driven in. We're going to see if we can get him to chase here. Do a little pitch around. Fisk sets the target. Here's the pitch to Baylor. And that ball is smacked up the middle for a 1 out, 2 out single. Excuse me, and we have an injury. We have an injury. Baylor tweaked his hamstring and will stay in the game. So the Angels, Don Baylor tweaked his hamstring going down to first base. So 2 outs, 1 on. The dangerous Joe Rudy, former Oakland Athletic, comes to the plate. He's the designated hitter today for the California Angels. Struggling so far in the 1977 retro replay. .214, 6 home runs, 16 runs driven in. In actuality, .264, 13 home runs, 53 runs driven in. 2 outs, 1 on. Scott holding Baylor on. Baylor 8 out of 10 base running ability, 48% chance of stealing second. Lee throws over to first. Baylor's back. Scott slapped the tag on him, but it was too late. Lee back up on the mound. Looks over at Scott. Now peers in at Fisk. He gets the sign. Here's the pitch to Rudy. And that's going to be blooped into left center field. Going first to third is Don Baylor. Evans retrieves the ball and throws it back in. So with 2 outs, Lee and the Red Sox find themselves in a bit of a pickle. And here comes Bobby Bonds, father of Barry, batting .198, 9 home runs, 25 runs driven in. As Eric from Higher Ground Gaming says, I thought you said Bailey got injured. That would have been a plus for the Sox, LOL. I might have meant that subliminally for my 1978 retro replay with Digital Diamond Baseball. And let me just ask Eric from Higher Ground Gaming, how goes your new board sports games? You have hockey, you have basketball. Did you get baseball for that? The nutsy games? I always mess up the name. So tell us about that, Eric. So Bobby Bonds steps to plate. In actuality, .264, 37 home runs, 115 runs batted in. And off left-handed pitching, .274. Fisk goes through the signs. Lee nods his head. Here's the pitch to Bobby Bonds. The arm grounded to Hobson. He goes to Scott, hitting over. I held my breath every time the balls get hit to Butch Hobson. So Bill Spaceman Lee pitches around it. We go to the bottom of the first, no score. Due up for the Red Sox, Evans, Carbo, and Rice. Dwight Evans playing for the injured Fred Lynn in center field. Batting .303 in the retro replay, 4 home runs, 16 runs batted in. In actuality, .287, 14 round trippers, 36 RBIs. Gary Ross is on the mound. He's 0 for 2, 7.11 ERA. Batting average against, .386 in the retro replay. In actuality, 2 wins, 4 losses, 5.55 earned run average, 3.37 batting average against. Doing the catching is Humphreys, very solid, good defensive catcher. At third, you have Chalk, above average. Gritch, above average at short. Jerry Remy, above average at second. Ron Jackson, below average at first. Baylor in left, Flores in center, and Bobby Bonds the best outfielder of the lot. 7 out of 10 defensive range, 6 out of 10 arm. Baylor average range, poor arm, and Flores playing center has practically no range, 3 out of 10 in average arm. So here we go. Ross toes the rubber. He looks in at Evans. Humphrey sets the target. Here's the pitch to Dewey. And Evans sends that ball deep and gone. Home run, Dwight Evans, as he mashes one over the monster. And the Red Sox take a quick 1-0 lead. The 77 Red Sox have quite a powerful team. And here comes Bernie Carbo. Let's see if Bernie can go back-to-back. Carbo batting .339 in this retro replay. 5 home runs, 12 runs driven in. He's playing right field. In actuality, .289. 15 home runs and 34 runs driven in 228 at-bats. Humphrey sets the target. Here's the pitch to Carbo. And Carbo singles to right field. So Bernie Carbo's on. 4 out of 10 base runner. He's staying put. Ron Jackson holding him on at first. And here comes the very dangerous designated hitter, Jim Rice. Rice is mashing the ball in this retro replay, like many of the Sox. .347 average, 5 home runs, 21 runs already driven in. Hello, Broke Black Man 94, moderator extraordinaire. One of my best friends of the channel. Has been with me a long time. He's kind enough to jump in every once in a while when he has the time, and he helps moderate my chat. Greatly appreciate it. Please check out Broke Black Man 94. Excellent, excellent channel. Movie and TV reviews. He has his Game of Thrones reviews up. It's very good. Check it out. Please, if you have not subscribed to Broke Black Man 94, or Eric from Higher Ground Gaming, or Chris from Stratomatic Delaware, please subscribe to them and check out their videos. Even if you don't think it's going to be your thing, you never know. They're all very enjoyable people. So Jim Rice is at the plate. In actuality, Rice batted .320, 39 homers, 114 runs batted in. In 1978, in the next year, he would be MVP of the American League. So 1-0 Red Sox. Bernie Carbo at first, Rice at the plate, no outs. The windup and the pitch by Ross. And Rice grounds it to Jackson, who takes it to the bag himself for out number 1. Carbo advances to second. So here comes Pudge, Carlton Fisk to the plate. Fisk batting .300, 5 home runs, 23 runs batted in this retro replay. In actuality, .315, 26 home runs, 102 runs batted in. Off right-handed pitching, .327. Humphrey goes through the signs. Ross nods his head. Here's the pitch to Pudge. And Fisk grounds that ball in the right field. Carbo hits a third base bag. He has a 65% chance of scoring, but Bobby Bonds has put a good charge on it, and we're going to... 65% is pretty good, but we got 1 out. We're going to say no. We're going to hold him at third. Carbo will hold at third because Captain Carl Yastrzemski comes to the plate. Yastrzemski batting .374 in this retro replay. 6 home runs, 24 runs driven in, 296 in actuality, 28 home runs, 102 RBIs. Chance to knock in Carbo from third. Yastrzemski steps into that left-hander's batter's box. Digs in. He awaits the Gary Ross offering. Ross sets in, delivers to Yaz. And Yaz pops it up. Jackson calls for it at first. He makes the catch. Red Sox don't want to squander this opportunity. They got Carbo at third. 2 outs now. Fisk at first. 1-0 due to the Evans home run to lead off the game. And here comes the Rooster, Rick Burleson. He's batting .370. No home runs, 6 RBIs. In actuality, he batted .293. 3 home runs, 52 runs batted in, .275 off right-handed pitching in 1977. 2 outs, runners on the corners. Ross gets a sign from Humphrey. He rocks and fires. Here's the pitch to the Rooster, and he pops it up. Humphreys calls for it, and he makes the catch, inning over. So the Red Sox do squander Carbo at third, but they jump out to a 1-0 lead thanks to the Dwight Evans leadoff homer. We go to the top of the second. top of the second, excuse me. Red Sox 1, Angels nothing. Due up for California. Chalk, Jackson, and Flores. Dave Chalk in the retro replay, currently batting .300, 1 home run, 10 runs driven in. Actuality .277, 3 home runs, 45 runs driven in. 7 out of 10 bunter. Corners will move in for the Red Sox. Hobson in at third, George Boomer Scott in at first. Chalk batted 359 off left-handed pitching. Fisk sets the target. The spaceman winds and delivers. Chalk swings, grounded to Scott, flips it to Lee, covering the bag for out number 1. Nice play by the Boomer and the spaceman. 1 out, no one on. Here comes Ron Jackson, batting .234, no home runs, 4 RBIs. In actuality, .243, 8 home runs, 28 runs driven in for the season. .285 off left-handed pitching. Lee looks in at Fisk. He gets the sign. Here's the pitch to Jackson. Jackson pops it up. Burleson makes the catch, calling off Hobson over on the third base side near the foul line. 2 up, 2 down. And here comes Gil Flores. Excellent bunter, 8 out of 10. He's batting 1,000. No home runs, 2 runs driven in. He's 2 for 2 on this season. In limited playing time, obviously. In actuality, in 1977, .278 batting average, 1 home run, 26 runs driven in. Lee looking for a 1-2-3 inning for the Bo Sox. He's ready. Here's the pitch to Flores. Grounded to Doyle, over to Scott. 1-2-3 go the Angels. We go to the bottom of the second. Boston 1, California nothing. 2 up for the Red Sox. Scott, Hobson, and Doyle. If anyone gets on the top of the order, Dwight Evans. So here comes the Boomer to the plate, power hitting first baseman. Scott struggling a bit in the 77 retro replay. He has gotten hot lately. He's got his average over 200. It's now .222, 7 home runs, 21 runs driven in. In actuality, the Boomer had an outstanding year. .269, 33 home runs, 95 runs driven in. He scored 103 runs. Off right-handed pitching, though, he did struggle in 77, .239 batting average. The Boomer digs in. Ross looks in at Humphrey. He's ready. Here's the pitch to Scott. And he strikes out. Big swing and a miss on the 1-2 count. Couldn't catch up with the Ross fastball. So with 1 out, no one on, here comes Butch Hobson. Red Sox third baseman also has been struggling, but of late has been hot. Has his average over 200 now. .208, 7 home runs, 19 runs driven in. In actuality, .265. Batting out of the 9th spot in reality in 1977. Butch Hobson gonged 30 home runs with 112 RBIs. If their pitching was not so atrocious in 1977, they would have won the division running away. They knocked in so many runs. But their pitching was, at best, mediocre. So Hobson digs in. He awaits the Gary Ross offering. Humphrey sets the target. Here's the pitch by Ross. And Hobson goes down on strikes as he watched that slider hit the outside corner. So 2 up, 2 down. Ross strikes out the first 2 batters here in the bottom of the second. He'll face the number 9 batter for the Red Sox, second baseman Denny Doyle, batting .213, 1 home run, and 4 runs driven in. He's a left-handed batter. In actuality, .240, 2 home runs, 49 runs batted in. In 1978, he would be replaced by the Angels second baseman right here, Jerry Remy, for the Red Sox. Humphrey sets the target. The windup and the pitch to Doyle. And Doyle rips that ball down to Jackson, who takes it to the bag himself. Inning over. We go to the top of the third. 1-0 Red Sox. Due up for the California Angels. Humphrey, my God, look at those glasses. How did he see anything? And then the top of the order, Grich and Remy. Let me quickly go to the chat. As Chris from Chris from Stratomatic, Delaware has left us. Take care, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. Always greatly appreciated. Remember to check out Stratomatic, Delaware. Great channel. Lots of retro sports, dice, and cardboard games. Absolutely awesome. Check him out. So Humphrey steps to the plate in the retro replay. The man with the goggles. Batted .254, 1 home run, 5 RBIs. Who am I to talk? I wear glasses, right? I actually had bad glasses like that, too. In actuality, batted .227, 2 home runs, 34 runs driven in. He only batted .222 off left-handed pitching. Lee works quickly. Here's the pitch to Humphrey. And that's a grounder to Scott, and Scott bobbles the ball, and he makes a very rare error. Wow, the Boomer makes an error. So the top of the order, Bobby Grich comes to the plate. He's 0 for 1. Popped out to third in the first inning. Humphrey, 4 out of 10 base running, represents a tying run at first. Red Sox would love to turn 2 with Burleson and Doyle up the middle. Lee looks over at Humphrey. Now in at Fisk. He gets the sign. He sets and delivers to Grich. It's a bunt. Scott fields it and throws to Doyle on the wheel play. So a good aggressive charge by the Boomer and an excellent job of Denny Doyle covering first base. 1 out. Humphrey now moves into scoring position. Here comes Jerry Remy, Massachusetts native, playing for the Angels. He's 0 for 1 today. Chance to tie this game up. He lined to first. Remy struggled against left-handed pitching, .209 batting average in 1977. Fisk goes through the signs. Lee nods his head. Big leg kick. Here's the pitch to Remy. It's a bunt. Scott cannot make the play, and Remy bunts his way on. Oh, I should have played the corners in. I was gonna, but I didn't. So, coulda, woulda, shoulda, I didn't. Runners on the corners, 1 out here. Remy, 10 out of 10 base running ability. The Boomer will hold him on at first, and here comes Don Baylor, who's 1 for 1 today. Singled up the middle. Again, the Red Sox want to turn 2 here. Lee looks over at third, now looks to first. In at Fisk, here's the pitch to Baylor. It's popped up, Scott's calling for it, and he makes the catch for out number 2. That's a huge out now. So 2 outs, 2 on, and Joe Rudy, the former Oakland Athletics, steps to the plate. He's 1 for 1. He singled to left center in the first. Lee again has his head on the swivel. First to third, then to first. Back to third, now looks in at Fisk. Here's the pitch to Joe Rudy. And that ball's sent deep and gone. Rudy crushes that hanging curveball. It's now 3-1 Angels. The Angels are now on top thanks to Joe Rudy's blast to left. Carl Yastrzemski just turned and watched. That eephus pitch hung up there too long. So with 2 outs, base is empty, 3-1 Angels. Here comes Bobby Bonds. He's 0 for 1. Lee throws the rosin bag down to the mound, steps back up on the mound, toes the rubber. Fisk sets the target. Here's the pitch to Bonds. And he rips that ball past Burleson into left field for a 2-out single. So the Angels have something going here. Hello, D. Scott Howard. Hope everyone is doing well. So Bonds at first, 9 out of 10 base running ability, but he will be held on, speak of the English out, by George Boomer Scott. Dave Chalk steps to the plate. He's 0 for 1. Lee's ready. Here's the pitch to Chalk. Sends that ball out towards left. Yastrzemski makes a running one-handed catch in front of the wall. Inning over, but damage done on the 3-run blast by Joe Rudy. The Angels take the lead 3-1 over Boston. Due up for the Red Sox in the bottom of the third. Top of the order, Evans, Carbo, and Rice. Evans 1 for 1. He homered in the first to lead off the game to give the Red Sox a 1-0 lead. Ross is ready. Here's the pitch to Dewey. Evans sends that ball deep to center, but Flores tracks it down. 1 up, 1 down. And here comes Bernie Carbo, 1975 World Series hero. He's 1 for 1 today. He's singled to right center. Carbo has 5 home runs on the retro replay. He'd love to drive one out to right. Ross toes the rubber, looks in at Humphrey, nods his head. Here's the pitch to Bernie Carbo. Carbo rips that ball to Jackson and he makes the catch. Hard hit ball, but right at Ron Jackson. So 2 outs, no one on. Here comes Jim Rice. He's 0 for 1 today. Humphrey goes through the signs. Ross nods his head. He sets and delivers to Rice. And he strikes him out, inning over. Big swing and a miss by Jim. Go to the top of the 4th, 3-1 Angels. Due up for California. Jackson, Flores, and Humphrey. If anyone gets on, top of the order, Bobby Grich. Ron Jackson 0 for 1. Popped to short in the 2nd inning. Bill Lee nods his head. Here's the pitch to Jackson. And that ball is going to get up the middle. As Evans played that ball on a hop, he might have had a shot at catching it, but he played it very conservatively. Jackson on at first, 6 out of 10 base runner. Scott holding him on. Again, the Red Sox would love to turn 2 here. We're going to play our corners in here because Flores is a 7 out of 10 bunter, and we already got burned twice with that. So Scott in at first. There we go. Hobson in at third, Scott in at first. Fisk goes through the sign, sets the target. Here's the pitch to Flores. That ball's grounded. Doyle over to Burleson to Scott. Double. No! A late safe call. Boomer is furious, arguing with the umpire. And here. Oh, wow. Denny Doyle goes over there. Cooler heads do prevail. They're not going to change the call, so no double play. Flores at first, and here comes the number 9 batter, the catcher, Terry Humphrey. He's 0 for 1. Grounded to first, but Scott made an error, so he reached. Red Sox want to turn 2 here. You know what? He's a 9 out of 10 bunter also. My God, does everyone know how to bunt on this team? So guess what? Corners in. Hobson in at third, Scott in at first. Fisk sets the target. The windup and the pitch by Bill Lee. It's a bunt. Lee fields it and goes to Doyle on the wheel play for out number 2. Flores moves into scoring position. We go to the top of the order. Bobby Grich, he's 0 for 1. Popped to third, and then had a sacrifice bunt in the 3rd inning. 2 outs. Grich has an RBI opportunity here in the top of the 4th. 3-1 Angels. On deck, Jerry Remy. Lee wants Fisk to go through the signs again. Now he's ready. Here's the pitch to Grich. That ball goes out to Evans, who makes the running catch in right center field, inning over. Angels threaten but do not score. Go to the bottom of the 4th, 3-1 California. Due up for the Red Sox, Fisk, Yastrzemski, and Burleson. If anyone gets on, the Boomer, George Scott. Carlton Fisk, 1 for 1. He singled in the 1st inning. Fisk had 26 home runs in actuality in 1977. On the retro replay, he has 5 so far. And the date in the retro replay timeline, May 8th, 1977. Ross is ready to work. Here's the pitch to Fisk. And Fisk grounds that ball up the middle. He's 2 for 2. Red Sox fans applaud that base hit. Fisk 5 out of 10 base running ability. Ron Jackson will hold him on. And here comes Captain Carl Yastrzemski. 0 for 1 today. Popped to first. Yaz would love to drive one out of the ballpark and tie this game up. He digs in. He looks for a pitch that he can grip and rip. Humphrey sets the target. Here's the pitch by Ross. And that's going to be a single as that drops in front of Flores. A sinking liner drops in front of Flores in left center. So the first 2 runners reach. You have Fisk at second, Yaz at first, and here comes the Rooster, Rick Burleson. Take care, Broke Black Man 94, aka David the Saint. Thank you very much for stopping by. Greatly appreciate it, my friend. Remember to check out Broke Black Man 94. He has an absolutely wonderful channel. He's a teacher. Check out his channel. A lot of movie and TV reviews. Very fun. If you leave a comment, he gets back to you. He does an awesome job. Greatly appreciate if you'd subscribe to his channel. Thank you very much. So Burleson comes to the plate. 2 on, no outs. He's only a 3 out of 10 bunter. I really want to move these runners over. Worst case scenario, he bunts into a double play. That has happened to me in the past. Batting .367 on the retro replay. I could go unorthodox and play hit and run. Put the runners in motion. Ross struck out 30, walked 11. On the retro replay, he struck out 15, walked 8. 381 batting average now against. We're going to play unorthodox. We're going to go hit and run here. Ross is ready. Hit and run on. Here's the pitch to the Rooster. And that ball goes to foul. Deep and foul to left. So now there's no balls, 2 strikes. We're taking the hit and run off. Fisk at second. Yastrzemski at first represents a tying run. Burleson at the plate represents a go-ahead run. No balls, 2 strikes. The windup and the pitch by Gary Ross. And that ball is grounded into left field. Baylor puts on a charge. Fisk has a 65% chance of scoring. We're going to hold him, though. Bases loaded, no outs. Not going to run into anything. And here comes the Boomer. Chance for redemption. He's 0 for 1. He struck out his first time up. Red Sox fans clapping along. They'd love to see a grand salami from Scott. Scott does have 7 home runs on the retro replay. Humphrey goes out to have a word with Ross. Now back behind the plate. He squats down, sets the target. Here's the pitch to George Boomer Scott. And Scott strikes out again. Oh, that's a killer. He didn't put the ball in play. Well, it could have been worse. Get it banged into a triple play or a double play. So with 1 out, Butch Hobson comes to the plate. He's 0 for 1. He struck out in the second inning also. Ross would love to get Hobson again. Hobson 7 home runs on the retro replay so far. He digs in. Ross nods his head. Here's the pitch to Hobson. And Hobson sends that ball deep and high off the green monster. 3 runs are going to score. Hobson triples. It is now 4-3 Red Sox as they come back and take the lead. Hobson just missed a grand slam by a foot. Great hustle by Butch Hobson to leg out a triple for a ball hit the left. Baylor had a little trouble getting to it, but it did roll around for a bit, but excellent hustle by Butch Hobson, clutch hitting. 4-3 Red Sox, 1 out. Hobson at third. Here comes Denny Doyle. Red Sox second baseman. He's 0 for 1 today. Grounded to first. If he hits a ground ball to first with the infield normal, Hobson should score on this. Ross is rattled out on the mound. Steps back on the rubber, looks in at Humphreys, nods his head. Here's the pitch to the left-handed batting Denny Doyle. And Doyle grounds to Remy. We have an 86% chance of Hobson scoring. We're going to send him. Remy goes to first. Doyle is out, but he gets an RBI. It's now 5-3 Red Sox. Hobson scores on the ground out. And here comes Dwight Evans. The Red Sox fans clapping and stomping along. Evans 1 for 2. His one hit, a leadoff solo shot in the first. Then he flied deep to center in the third. 2 outs, base is empty. Here's the pitch to Evans. And Evans strikes out inning over, but the Red Sox strike for 4 runs and retake the lead as we go to the top of the 5th. Boston 5, California 3. 2 up for the Angels. Remy, Baylor, and Rudy. Jerry Remy 1 for 2 today. Line to first and had a bunt single in the third. Red Sox will move their corners in. Scott in at first, Hobson in at third. Lefty-lefty matchup. Remy struggles against left-handed pitching. Lee's ready. Here's the pitch to Remy. And he strikes him out! Swing and a miss on the 0-2 count. Excellent curveball by Bill, spaceman Lee. One out, and here comes Don Baylor, Angels left fielder. He's 1 for 2. Singled in the first, popped out in the third. Lee nods his head. The windup and the pitch to Baylor. Baylor pops it up. Hobson calls for it. He makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down. Lee looking for a 1-2-3 inning here. And here comes the man who has owned Bill Lee in the Red Sox today, Joe Rudy, former Oakland Athletic. He's 2 for 2. Singled in the first and hit a 3-run blast to left in the third. At the time, it gave the Angels a 3-1 lead. Lee looks in at Fisk. Fisk sets the target. We're going to go with a pitch around. See if we can get Joe Rudy to chase. Here's the pitch to Rudy. And he grounds to Hobson, who fires to Scott. Inning over. 1-2-3 go the Angels. We move on to the bottom of the 5th. The Red Sox 5, California 3. Due up for Boston, Carbo, Rice, and Fisk. If anyone gets on, Captain Carl Yastrzemski. So here comes Bernie Carbo. He's 1 for 2 today. Singled in the first, line to first in the third. Ross still on the mound. He's thrown 72 pitches. He's good for 110. Humphrey sets the target. Here's the pitch to Carbo. Carbo pops that ball in the shallow outfield. Jerry Remy makes a wonderful running catch towards the right field line for out number 1. Stepping to the plate, Jim Rice. He's 0 for 2 today. He has grounded to first and struck out in the third. Rice digs in the right-hander's batter's box. The windup and the pitch by Ross. Rice sends that ball deep and gone to left center field. What a crushing blow by Jim Rice. The Red Sox now lead 6-3. As the power company is on today in Fenway. Stepping to the plate, Pudge, Carlton Fisk, 2 for 2. He singled in the first and singled in the fourth. Angels have some milling going on in their bullpen. Humphrey again goes out to have a word with Ross. Now back behind the plate. Ross is clearly flustered out on that mound. He's muttering to himself. Now he peers in at Humphrey. Nods his head. Here's the pitch to Fisk. And Fisk strikes out. So whatever Ross muttered to himself, it worked. 2 outs now, base is empty. Carl Yastrzemski steps to the plate. The Red Sox left fielder 1 for 2 today. Popped out in the first and singled in the fourth. Yaz is ready. Humphrey sets the target. The windup and the pitch to Yastrzemski. Yastrzemski grounds that ball right back up the middle. A 2-out single for Yaz. He's on first. Jackson to hold him on. Here comes the rooster, Rick Burleson. The Red Sox shortstop 1 for 2 today. Popped to the catcher in the first and singled in the fourth. 2 outs. Yastrzemski at first. Ross is ready. Here's the pitch to Burleson. And that's a wild pitch, and Yastrzemski races to second base. He's in scoring position now for the rooster. The count on Burleson's now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ross looks back at Yastrzemski. Now back in at Humphreys behind the plate. Humphrey sets the target. Here's the pitch to Burleson. Burleson sends that ball out to shallow right field. Coming on is Bobby Bonds. He makes the catch, inning over. The Red Sox score 1 on the Rice homer. We go to the top of the 6th. Boston 6, California 3. Due up for the Angels, Bonds, Chalk, and Jackson. And here's Bonds. He's 1 for 2 today. The Angel right fielder. Grounded to third in the first and singled in the third. Bonds 274 off left-handed pitching. Bill Lee is ready. He sets and delivers to Bonds. Bonds rips a shot to the left field wall. Rattles around. Yastrzemski retrieves it, but it's too late. Bobby Bonds stands at third base with a triple. Lee's up to 74 pitches. He's good for 130. Here comes Dave Chalk. 0 for 2. Corners again in. Chalk, 7 out of 10 bunter. Hobson in at third. Scott in at first. Chalk has grounded to first and fly deep to left in the third. We're going to go aggressive here against Chalk. Fisk sets the target. Here's the pitch by Lee. That's a grounder past Burleson for a single. Bonds scores from third. It's now 6-4 Red Sox. So Dave Chalk gets his job done, knocking in Bonds from third base. He's at first now, 7 out of 10 base runner. Scott holding him on. Here comes Ron Jackson, 1 for 2. Jackson popped to short in the second inning and singled to center in the fourth. Red Sox want to turn 2 here. Fisk goes through the signs. Lee's ready to work. Here's the pitch to Jackson. That ball goes to right center field. Carbo makes a running catch and fires the ball back in towards Doyle. Retreating to first base is Chalk. Nice job by Bernie Carbo. He showed very good range there. He's 8 out of 10 in 1977 for range. With an excellent arm, 9 out of 10. So with 1 out, a double play will get the Red Sox out of the inning. And here comes Gil Flores. He's 0 for 2. Lee works quickly. Here's the pitch to Flores. And that ball's grounded up the middle. Evans has to get to it, but too late. The speedy Flores is in at second, and Chalk scampers all the way to third base. Red Sox get their bullpen up. Flores represents the tying run here. In the top of the 6th, the Red Sox have a 6-4 lead. And here comes Humphrey. The catcher's 0 for 1. Excellent bunter, 9 out of 10 bunting. He reached on a Boomer Scott error at first in the third, and then he had a sacrifice bunt in the fourth. Red Sox move Hobson in from third and Scott in at first. Lee's ready to work. Here's the pitch to Humphrey. And that ball goes up the middle. Evans has it. We have a 19% chance of throwing Flores out. Flores 8 out of 10 base runner. Evans 5 out of 10 arm. He doesn't have his cannon of an arm in 1977. We're gonna go to the plate. Here's the throw to the plate, and he's safe. A 2 RBI single for Humphreys. We have a new ball game, folks. The Angels score 3 in the top of the 6th. It's 6-6. Go ahead, run at first in Humphreys. As once again, the 77 pitching is not good. Red Sox could mash the ball, but the pitching just was not good. They won a lot of games out of their bullpen. If you look at the stats in Baseball Reference, you can see their starting pitchers didn't have big winning records. You had a lot of bullpen pitchers. Bill Campbell had an excellent year in 77. So here comes Bobby Grich, 0 for 2. Red Sox want to turn 2 here. Lee looks over at Humphreys. He throws to Scott. Scott slaps the tag down, but too late. Humphreys barely gets back, but he got back. He's safe. He looks back at Scott. Now in at Fisk. Here's the pitch to Grich. Grich grounds it to Burleson, over to Doyle, on to Scott. Double play, inning over. But the Angels plate 3. We go to the bottom of the 6th. We have a tie ball game, 6-6. 2 up for the Red Sox. Scott, Hobson, and Doyle. If anyone gets on the top of the order, Dwight Evans. Ross still out on the mound. This has become a slow-pitch softball game. He's up to 91 pitches. Pretty close to his threshold, 110. He's owned George Boomer Scott. Scott's 0 for 2, and he struck out twice. Scott wants to avoid the hat trick. This is not hockey. Ross looks in at Humphreys. Humphreys sets a target. Here's the pitch to George Scott. Scott pops that ball up to Chalk at third. for out number 1. The good news is the Boomer didn't strike out. The bad news is he popped out. 1 out, no one on. Here comes Butch Hobson. He's 1 for 2 today. Struck out in the second, then tripled, knocking in 3 runs in the 4th. And that gave the Red Sox a lead at the time. That lead has since evaporated. We have a 6-6 tie ball game. The windup and the pitch to Hobson. Hobson sends that ball up the middle. That's his second hit. And that's it for Mr. Ross. He's hitting to the showers. And here comes Dick Drago, who will be a Red Sox in 1978. Drago, on the retro replay, 1 win, no losses, 1 save, struck out 6, walked 1, earned run average 2.84, batting average against 224. In actuality, was no wins, 1 loss, 2 saves. Drago, who played for the Red Sox in the 75 World Series team and will be back in 78. In between was with the Royals. Earned run average 3 even, batting average against 272. Let's give you the final numbers for Ross, though he's responsible for Hobson at first. Ross pitched 5 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 6 runs. They were all earned. He's responsible for Butch Hobson at first base. He gave up 2 home runs, 1 to Evans, 1 to Rice. He didn't walk anybody, and he struck out 6 Red Sox players. So Denny Doyle comes to the plate. Doyle, 7 hit and run. I think we're going to play a little hit and run with Denny Doyle. Drago throws strikes. Doyle digs in the left-hander's batter's box. Hit and runs on. Here's the pitch by Drago. Doyle misses, but Hobson steals second base. So he slides in safely. He's in scoring position now for Denny Doyle. The count is now no balls, 2 strikes on Doyle. Drago's ready to work. The windup and the pitch. Doyle swings, grounds it to Remy. He goes to Jackson for out number 2. Hobson advances to third base, 90 feet away. The go-ahead run is. Butch Hobson at third, and here comes the leadoff batter. Dwight Evans, 1 for 3. Hit a solo home run in the first. He'd love to hit a 2-run homer now and give the Red Sox an 8-6 lead, but a base hit will do. Humphrey goes through the signs. Drago nods his head. Here's the pitch to Evans. Evans sends that ball deep and gone! His second home run of the game to left center. The 77 Red Sox take a 8-6 lead. That's their 3rd home run of the game. 2 by Evans, 1 by Rice. The power company is on. As D. Scott Howard says, welcome to Fenway Park. Love it. And here comes Bernie Carbo with 2 outs. He's 1 for 3. Singled in the first, lined out in the third, and popped to second in the 5th. If you're thinking back-to-back jacks for Carbo and for Evans and Carbo, Carbo has 5 home runs on the retro replay. In actuality, he hit 15 in 1977. Carbo does have power. Humphrey sets the target. Drago rocks and fires to Carbo. And Carbo sends that ball out to Bobby Bonds, but he makes the catch in right. Inning over. The Red Sox score 2 on the second home run by Dwight Evans and now lead the Angels in this slow-pitch softball game 8-6. Bill Lee is still out on the mound, and we're going to let him pitch to Remy. Even though Remy's 1 for 3, we're going to move our infield corners in. Hobson in at third, Scott in at first. This has become redundant with me saying that, but they have a lot of good guys who can bunt on the Angels. Fisk sets the target. Here's the pitch to Remy. And Remy singles to right center, and it turns into a hustle double! Oh my lord, and that's going to be it for Bill Spaceman Lee. We have seen enough of him. Let's see who we want to bring in. Top of the 7th. Bob Stanley, though he has a start coming up May 14th, though I'm not following the as-played schedules. Or as played lineups, excuse me. The schedules are accurate. Sorry about that. Campbell can go 50 pitches. They have a bunch of righties. Campbell, batting average against righties against Campbell is 245. He's the best pitcher for that. Let me click on all pitchers. See if we got a spot starter we can use. Nope. Oh, Campbell could go 3 innings, or close to it. It's a big moment in the game here. We can always use Stanley to try to close it out. So we're going to come in with the soup. Bill Campbell. Here comes Bill Campbell. He had an outstanding 1977. As Greg Gurecki says in the chat, Sox crushed Jays again. Yes, they did. The Yankees lost 2. The Red Sox are now, is it 6.5 up? Or 5.5 up? They're up. That's all I know. I'm very happy. Can never be far enough ahead of the Yankees, in my opinion. So Bill Lee in the retro replay is 3 wins, no losses, 7 saves, 2.05 earned run average, batting average against 158. He struck out 21, only walked 4. In actuality, in 1977, 2.96 earned run average, won 13 games, lost 9, had 31 saves. He threw 140 innings out of the bullpen. That's like unheard of now. And he was their closer, basically. I mean, as you see, 31 saves. He struck out 114, walked 60. That being said, his arm was pretty much done after that. And 78 was not as good. So Lee's done with it. Campbell's done with his warm-up tosses. Don Baylor steps in the batter's box. Baylor 1 for 3 off Bill Lee. Singled in the first, popped out in the third, and popped out in the fifth. Lee's final numbers, he's responsible for Jerry Remy at second. 6 innings, 11 hits, 6 runs, only 3 were earned due to the error. I think that was the, had to be the Scott error. He gave up 1 home run to Joe Rudy. Didn't walk anybody, struck out 1. And Bill Campbell's ready. Here's the pitch to Baylor. No outs, Remy at second. And that ball goes out to Carbo and right. He makes the catch. And Remy quickly retreats back to second base. Didn't want to challenge Carbo's arm. So 1 out, and here comes Joe Rudy. Joe Rudy's 2 for 3. Singled in the first, hit a 3-run blast in the third, then grounded out to third base in the fifth. On deck is Bonds. Campbell nods his head. The windup and the pitch to Rudy. And he strikes out Joe Rudy. So there's 2 outs. Fisk throws the ball back to Campbell. He rubs up the baseball. Slaps it into his glove. He's back up on the mound to face Bobby Bonds, who's 2 for 3. Bonds grounded out in the first, singled in the third, and tripled in the sixth. 2 outs. Remy's still at second base. He's been there since the beginning of the inning. They'd like to leave him there. Soup Campbell's ready. Here's the pitch to Bonds. And he strikes out Bonds! Inning over. What a job by Soup. He does what he's supposed to do. We go to the bottom of the 7th. 8-6. Red Sox. Due up for Boston. Rice, Fisk, Yastrzemski. Go to the chat here. Greg Rick says Campbell was the Raleigh Fingers of the American League East that year. Yeah, he was absolutely outstanding. If you can go on YouTube and you check some of those old This Week in Baseballs, and you just watch how that pitch he would throw it. That curveball was nasty. It just dropped. I think it was a curveball. It could have been a screwball. I don't know what it was, but it was nasty. And he could throw pretty hard also. But that pitch just dropped right off the plate. And here comes Rice. Rice is 1 for 3. Grounded to first in the first, struck out in the third, and hit a solo blast in the fifth. He'd love to get his second of the game. Angels pitching has given up 3 home runs. Drago looks at Humphreys. He's ready. Here's the pitch to Rice. And Rice pops that ball up. Rich calls for it at short. Out number 1. Here comes Carlton Fisk. Pudge 2 for 3 today. Singled in the first, singled in the fourth, struck out in the fifth. He's ready to grip and rip. Drago rocks and fires to Fisk. And Fisk grounds that ball up the middle. So a 1-out single for Fisk. He'll be held on by Jackson. Here comes Captain Carl Yastrzemski. Yaz is 2 for 3 today. Popped out in the first, singled in the fourth, and singled in the fifth. Off right-handed pitching, Yastrzemski batted .306 in 1977. He awaits the Drago offering. And here it is. Yaz swings, grounds it back to Drago. He goes to first for out number 2. He gets the sure out. He thought about Fisk at second, but took the sure out at first. So with 2 outs, Carlton Fisk is at second. Here comes the Rooster, Rick Burleson. He's 1 for 3 today. Pop to the catcher. Singled in the fourth and fly to shallow right in the fifth. Chance to give a very important insurance run to the Red Sox with 2 outs and Fisk at second. No lead is safe at Fenway Park. Humphrey goes through the signs. Drago nods his head. Here's the pitch to Burleson. And he strikes him out, inning over. So Fisk's stranded at second. We go to the top of the 8th. 8-6 Boston. Due up for the Angels. Chalk, Jackson, and Flores to face Bill Soup Campbell. Campbell, 18 pitches. He's good for 50. Chalk, 1 for 3. Here's the pitch by Campbell. And he strikes out Chalk. As Chalk has his eraser board erased. Wow, that was horrible. I thought that was going to work out better. Just forget that thought. It was bad. Greg Gurecki says the screwball. Yes! It had to be the screwball. That was just a nasty pitch he threw. It just dropped right off the table. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. So Ron Jackson steps to the plate. He's 1 for 3 today. He has popped out, singled, and flown out. Fisk sets the target. Campbell works quickly. Here's the pitch to Ron Jackson. But before that happens, they call him back, and here comes a left-handed pinch hitter, Tony Solita. I believe his name's pronounced. I apologize if that's not the right way. He, in the retro replay, batting .391. 1 home run, 2 runs batted in. He has 18 hits and 46 at-bats in the retro replay. In actuality, .241. 14 home runs, 53 runs driven in. Off right-handed pitching, .248. Campbell, left-handers, batted .206. He actually dealt with left-handed batters much better than right-handers. Right-handers batted .245. 1 out, no one on. The windup and the pitch by Campbell. And he strikes out Tony Solita for out number 2. So Mr. Solita, back to the bench you shall go. And here comes Gil Flores. He's 1 for 3, and the corners will move in as he's an 8 out of 10 bunter. Hobson in at third, Scott in at first. Greg Gurecki says of Bill Soup Campbell, 2 years, 300 innings, and he was never the same again. No, his arm was done. He threw a lot of innings, as you stated right there, in 2 years. Campbell toes the rubber, looks in at Fisk. Here's the pitch to Flores. And he strikes out Flores. Inning over. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Red Sox cling to a 2-run lead. 8-6 Boston. And now a new pitcher for the Angels, Don Kirkwood. In the retro replay, 1 win, 1 loss, 1 save, 3.60 earned run average, batting average against .250. Struck out 12, walked 6. In actuality, in 17 innings pitched, 5.09 earned run average, 1 win, no losses, 1 save. He's pretty much at everything right now. And he'll be facing George Boomer Scott, who's 0 for 3. Struck out twice and popped out. Kirkwood gets the sign from Humphrey. Here's the pitch to Scott. And Scott grounds that ball to Remy. Makes a nice backhanded play, and he throws to Solita at first for the first out. And here comes Butch Hobson, 2 for 3 today. He has a triple and 3 runs driven in. Kirkwood's ready. The windup and the pitch to Butch Hobson. And Hobson's going to be ejected. I think he strikes out looking. And Hobson's gone. As he has an argument with the umpire, and he said those magic words. Something like, farm you, I believe. But I don't think he used farm. So 2 outs. Hobson's out of the game. We're going to need a third baseman. Now, that might not be a bad thing. We get a better defensive third baseman now. And here comes Denny Doyle, 0 for 3. Righty-lefty matchup here for Kirkwood. Humphrey sets the target. Here's the pitch to Doyle, looking to extend the bottom of the 8th for the Red Sox. And he grounds to Solita, who boots the ball. Doyle reaches on an error. And here comes Dwight Evans. So far, player of the game, 2 for 4 with 2 home runs. A solo shot in the 1st. And then a 2-run homer in the 6th. He's driven in 3 runs, the reason why the Red Sox are ahead. Can he get home run number 3 off Kirkwood? We shall see. Here's the pitch to Evans. 2 outs. Doyle at first. And that ball's grounded to Chalk. He goes the short way to Remy for the force at second. Inning over. We go to the top of the 9th. The Red Sox are ahead by 2, 8-6 over the Angels. Campbell is still out on the mound. He looks strong. He's looking to get another save here. If he does, that's save number 8. To do so, he'll have to get through Humphreys, then the top of the order, Gritch and Remy. We need a third baseman. Oh my God, we don't have another third baseman. How do you not have another third baseman? Oh boy, let's see. I don't think Denny Doyle can play third. No, because when I clicked on third, Doyle is not an option. So we're going to have to put Dillard at third, who's a 1 range. Oh boy. So Dillard will go in at third, bat in the 8th slot. And now we're going to take Dwight Evans out of the game because Miller is a 5 out of 10 range with an 8 arm, where Evans is a 3 out of 10 range with a 5 arm. So we're going to go defense here. So Rick Miller comes in the game for defensive purposes. So we have Dillard at third, who's, God, don't hit the ball to him. I mean, he was a serviceable utility guy, but gee, I can't believe they don't have another third baseman. I was a little kid. I mean, Hobson played a lot. So, I mean, it makes sense, I guess. I don't think Scott could play. I'm not going to take Scott away. Alrighty, so here we go. Humphrey's at the plate. He's 1 for 2. Miller's in center. Dillard's at third now. He reached on an error in the 3rd inning by Scott. Sacrifice bunt in the 4th and single in the 6th. The windup and the pitch by Campbell. Grounder to Doyle. Backhands it over to Scott. Out number 1. Red Sox 2 outs away from victory. Here comes Bobby Gritch. He's 0 for 3. Campbell wants to make him 0 for 4. Fisk sets the target. Here's the pitch to Gritch. And Gritch works a walk. Oh boy. And the tying run comes to the plate. And Jerry Remy, he's 2 for 4. And Campbell handles left-handers very well. Scott holding Gritch on. Really, his run means nothing, but we'd like to keep the double play in order. If we play behind, his steal rate's going to go up. 64, so we're going to hold him on. Remy's 2 for 4 today. Massachusetts native will be playing for the Red Sox in 78. The Rem Dog. Lined out in the 1st, had a bunt single in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th, and doubled to right center. That was a good hustle double in the 7th for Remy. And again, geez, we got to respect his bunting. Can't just give him that hit. Got to play the corners in. Dillard in at 3rd, Scott in at 1st. Campbell nods his head. He's ready. The windup and the pitch to Remy. And he strikes out Remy for out number 2. Red Sox 1 out away from a very big win here. If they win, they'll go to 21-4. But they have to get through Don Baylor first, God rest his soul. Just passed away. Baylor on the retro replay, 292, 9 home runs, 25 runs driven in. In actuality, he had 25 home runs in 77. So with one swing of the bat, Baylor could tie this ball game up. Fenway fans getting very anxious here at the park. Campbell looks in at Fisk. Fisk sets the target. Here's the pitch to Baylor. And, oh, he walked him. He walked him. As that pitch was high and way outside. Now Campbell's over his threshold and Joe Rudy's coming to the plate. 2 on, 2 outs. Rudy represents the go-ahead run. Baylor the tying run at first, and that's going to be it for Soup. And Bob Stanley's going to come in and out of the pen. Stanley Steamer, the horse. No, Rick Clear was the horse, right? So here comes Stanley. Bob Stanley. Love that. Look at that mustache. He looks very sweaty in this picture. Alright, so Stanley comes out to try to get the last out of this game and pick up the save. Campbell did a good job. Got him to 2 outs until the 9th, but he tired. Stanley in the retro replay, 4 wins, no losses, 1.29 earned run average. Has struck out 8, walked 1, batting average against 221. In actuality, 3.99 earned run average, 8 wins, 7 losses, 3 saves. He threw 151 innings, but he was also a spot starter. All right, here comes Joe Rudy, 2 for 4. Singled in the first, hit a 3-run homer in the 3rd, grounded out to 3rd in the 5th, and struck out in the 7th. Stanley done with his warm-up tosses. Fisk has a word with him. Scott joins him on the mound. So does Burleson. Meeting adjourned. Players back to their positions. Fisk squats down. Stanley gets the sign. Here's the pitch to Rudy. It's popped up. Burleson's calling for it at short. Ball game over. The Red Sox hold on. California has the tying run at first, but that's it, folks. A pop-up to Burleson, ball game over. Boston wins 8-6. That was a thriller from Fenway Park. Let's go to the box score. Bring up a window in OBS. Fit to the screen. There we go. Let's go to the pitching first, but before I do that, I'd like to say thank you to the fine people in the chat. We had Greg Gorecki, thank you very much. Eric from Higher Ground Gaming. Check out Higher Ground Gaming with Eric and Mr. Brody. As Eric says, Evans was great in 78. You just played a strat game. Oh, cool. Did you load it up? I love watching your 78 replay. Thank you to D. Scott Howard, Max Cornelius, Beatles Eternally, Broke Black Man 94, who was in earlier in the chat, my moderator. He's kind enough to help me out with that. And check out David, who's Broke Black Man 94. His channel, excellent channel for movie and TV reviews. Check him out. Wonderful person, just like everyone else is in the chat. We also had Chris from Stratomatic, Delaware. Check out his channel. He's doing the Bill Mazeroski project. Really fun project where he pits the Yankees against the 60 Pittsburgh Pirates. The Yankees from the early 20s up into the early 60s. So check that out. That's a lot of fun. I think that's everyone. I hope I got everyone. Max Cornelius. I believe I said Max. So thank you very much to everyone in the chat. As Eric from Higher Ground Gaming, check out his channel. He just uploaded his 1978 retro replay using Stratomatic Baseball. And we're going to come to a point, Eric and I, we're going to do a show, hopefully. And I got antsy. I wanted to play another 78 game. I had actually stopped at the end of May, but I played some games since. But I think I'm going to stop again and let Eric catch up, and we can just compare. It'd be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. Greg Gorecki says, take care, everyone. You take care, Greg. Thank you very much for stopping by. Greatly appreciate it. All right, let's go to the box score and call it a stream. For the Angels, who lost 8-6, and again, a thriller at Fenway Park. Ross now goes 0-3. He went 5 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 7 runs, all earned, gave up 2 home runs. 1 to Evans, 1 to Rice. Struck out 6, walked no one. Drago came in, pitched an inning and 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned. It was a home run to guess who? Dwight Evans. He struck out 1. Kirkwood came in, pitched pretty much a clean 8th. No hits, no runs, struck out 1. Bill Lee, he got the win. He was not stellar. He went 6 innings. He's now 3-1, Bill Lee. He went 6 innings, 11 hits, 6 runs, 3 of them earned. So that's not that bad because Scott made a very rare error. He gave up 1 home run to Joe Rudy. He walked no one, struck out 1. He threw 90 pitches. We went early to Bill Soup Campbell, and it worked. He gets the hold. He went 2 2/3 innings, walked 2, struck out 6. He tired in the 9th, 1 out away from a save, and 1 out away from a Red Sox victory. Stanley came in, got the final batter to pop out to Burleson. Ball game over. So Stanley gets save number 1 of the 77 retro replay. Let's go to the batting. For the Angels, Bobby Grich 0-3 with a walk. Jerry Remy 2-5, a run scored. He struck out twice and he doubled. Baylor 1-4 with a walk. Joe Rudy 2-5, 1 run scored, 3 RBIs, struck out once. He had a 3-run homer. Bobby Bonds 2-4, runs scored. He struck out once. He had a triple. Dave Chalk 1-4, runs scored, an RBI, and he struck out once. Ron Jackson 1-3. Solita, the pinch hitter who took over first base after 0-1 with a strikeout. Flores, the center fielder, 1-4, 1 run scored, and he struck out and doubled. Humphrey, the catcher, 1-3, 1 run scored. He knocked in 2. So in total, the Angels, 36 at-bats, 6 runs, 11 hits, 6 RBIs, 2 walks. They struck out 7 times. They had 2 doubles, 1 triple, and a home run. As a team, they hit for the cycle. Didn't win, but they hit for the cycle as a team. For the victorious Boston Red Sox, Dwight Evans, excellent game, 2-5, 2 runs scored, 3 RBIs. He struck out once, and he had 2 home runs. Rick Miller came in for defensive purposes in the 9th to play center field, did not bat. Bernie Carbo 1-4. Jim Rice 1-4 with a run scored, 1 RBI. He struck out once, and he homered. Excuse me. Carlton Fisk 3-4, 1 run scored, and a strikeout. Carl Yastrzemski 2-4 with a run scored. Rick Burleson 1-4 with a run scored and a strikeout. George Boomer Scott 0-4 and he K'd twice. He avoided the hat trick though. Hobson 2-4, 2 runs scored, 3 runs knocked in. He struck out twice, and the second time he struck out, he got ejected for arguing. Dillard came in to play third base, did not get an at-bat. Denny Doyle 0-4, but he had an RBI on a groundout. In total, the victorious Boston Red Sox, 37 at-bats, 8 runs, 12 hits, 8 RBIs, no walks. They struck out 8 times, 1 triple, 3 home runs. They left 13 runners on base. The team batting average, .297. Eric from Higher Ground Gaming says for his 1978 retro replay using Stratomatic, I'm using Digital Diamond. He's on May 26th. So I have to check. I'm on June 14th or something like that, I believe. So I'll check and I'll put it in the comments on your game, Eric, after I watch it. Which usually I watch your games in the morning when I'm making breakfast. Okay, let's go to the recap. Really fun game for the fans to watch because the Red Sox won in Fenway. So, always enjoyable to do a Red Sox victory for me. After I play a lot of 1966 Red Sox games, and they're actually not that bad. I'm one game over 500 with them. And I play a lot of 1960 Red Sox games using Out of the Ballpark, and that's just, wow. You gotta love the Red Sox to play that season. And I play that open world alternate universe, so I have a few better players than they did. Alright, so Red Sox scored 1 run on 3 hits in the first. Dwight Evans hit a solo shot. The Sox took a 1-0 lead. California came back to take the lead in the third. Sent 7 batters to the plate, scoring 3 runs, 3 hits on an error. Remy singled. His hit streak is now 13 games. Joe Rudi hit a 3-run homer, 7th of the year. California took a 3-1 lead. Boston came back in the fourth to retake the lead, 7 batters to the plate, scoring 4 runs on 4 hits. Butch Hobson tripled with the bases loaded, knocking in 3 runs. Red Sox went up 4-3. Denny Doyle hit a grounder, scoring. Hobson from third made it 5-3. Red Sox scored again in the fifth, 1 run on 2 hits. Rice hit a solo blast, 6th of the year, made it 6-3 Red Sox. California scored 3 runs on 4 hits in the 6th to tie the ball game up. Dave Chalk singled, scoring Bonds. And then Humphreys singled, scoring 2 to tie the game at 6. Then in the bottom of the 6th, Boston came right back. They scored 2 runs on 2 hits. Dwight Evans hit a 2-run blast, number 6 on the year. And they took the lead 8-6, and that was it for good. Bobby Bonds for the Angels, 2 for 4 with a triple. Joe Rudi, 2 for 5 with a home run, 3 RBIs. Carlton Fisk, 3 for 4. Butch Hobson, 2 for 4 with a triple, 3 runs batted in, 2 runs scored. Dwight Evans, 2 for 5, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Bill Lee pitched 6 innings. He struggled. He only gave up 3 earned runs, though. 11 hits. Struck out 1. He's now 3-1 on the year. Bob Stanley got the save. He got the final out in the 9th. Campbell had went 2 2/3, but just couldn't close it out. He got a little tired and wild at the end. Gary Ross for the Angels took the loss. He's now no wins and 3 losses on the season. This is Al, Red Sox fan, saying thank you very much for taking time out. Regardless if you watch live, jump in the chat, or whenever you watch this, thank you very much. If you like this, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the share button. And check out my channel page for the other channels that I subscribe to. The featured ones, the related ones. They're all wonderful channels, such as Eric from Higher Ground Gaming, Chris from Stratomatic Delaware, Dave from Broke Black Man 94. Check them all out. Not just those, all the way. Let's grow our communities together. That's the way I like to look at it. So, one for all and all for one. I know that's a corny saying, but there's a lot of mean people out on YouTube, and that's not what I'm about, and that's not what those other my friends of mine on YouTube are about. So, that's my plug for them. If you don't like it, too bad for you. I will continue doing that. Alrighty, as Eric from Higher Ground Gaming says, breakfast with Brody, LOL. It's the best, Eric. It's the best, my friend. So once again, thank you very much to everyone. Health and happiness. Take care, bye-bye, and God bless. I might come back with a Mets game next. They're playing a doubleheader against the Giants. Maybe I'll play one game online. Love playing the Mets. I never know how I'm going to score. They're so bad. Alright, take care. Bye-bye. God bless.